Hello everybody, Rox here. Thank you again for tuning into Rox Tactical. Today we are going to be talking about something pretty cool, something you don't see very often, but that is this everyone's favorite strange hybrid rifle. That is the Mark 47. This is the Cyma Platinum version. So before we get to the review, I just want to remind you to, if you like what I do, if you like all that stuff, anything I post here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, hit the bell. I'm trying to post as frequently as I can. Life's busy, but you know how it is. We are going to be putting up more gameplay soon, and as well as a few more reviews in the next coming weeks, so stick around. And yeah, without further ado, let's just jump right into the review. So, a quick overview of the Mark 47, if you're not sure of what this gun is. It is a combination of an AR style, like AR-15 style platform with the ability to take AK-47 magazines. The real one is designed to shoot AK pattern rounds as well, the 7.62x39, as opposed to most AR-15s which shoot 5.56x45. Correct, I'm not sure if I'm correct on that one, it's not really used in any military sense, but it has a really popular following amongst people down in the States. It's a pretty cool, unique platform. It kind of turns heads. I got a magazine for you. See here, I've got this AK pattern magazine. Pops right in. Pretty cool. It has a really unique silhouette, and I think that's what draws a lot of people to something like this. It looks neat, in addition to just being something a little different, while still retaining like familiar controls. If you look right here, it's got your AR-15 pattern. Safe, semi-full, so battery in this, and there's no rounds in this magazine, just to clarify that. If you're familiar with an AR-15, you're going to be right at home with something like this, and I really like that about it. I like the way it looks with the AK magazines, and it feels quite nice to be able to do a reload like this, which is just a little bit different and provides something a little more fun than your standard AR-15 pattern rifle. Continuing on and talking about feel and ergonomics and stuff like that, it uses a standard AR-15 pistol grip here. You can change this out with any other airsoft compatible pistol grip. I haven't changed it, I've left it stock. I think the one that it comes with is very comfortable, but you could change it if you wanted to. Likewise with the stock, it comes with this, like it looks almost like a Magpul mil-spec kind of stock, but it's not quite. It has a few little features that I think are really neat. Like it has a quick change feature where you pull it back and you set it to the one you like. So if you can put a pin in there and lock it in place. So no matter what, if your stock is collapsed, you pull it and it locks and it hits the point that you want. So it's the same every time, which I think is a neat little feature. It's not really that useful in like the grand scheme of things. I think it's better if you're talking about a real one and you're like trying to keep it stored somewhere. But I think when you're talking about airsoft, it's just going to be, it's a feature that's there on the real one, so they put it on this one. You could change the stock if you wanted to. Like, I'm pretty partial to the PTS stocks, but I think this one is really good and I haven't felt a need to change it. Talking about the build of this gun, most of it is made out of a metal of some kind. The polymer parts are polymer, like the stock and the pistol grip, but the upper and the lower are what I can assume is a pot metal or a simple aluminum. It's not steel. The price reflects that. I think this gun is only $300 US, which is pretty nice. But for what it is, it feels good. It has all the correct markings on it. If you look on this side here, it has your CMMG markings, which is the company that made it. Serial number, Mark 47. Everything is accurate to what you would expect the real one to have. I've never held the real one before, but I've seen lots of videos of it, and I've spoken to people who do have it, and this one is quite accurate to that, which is nice. I think accuracy is important, especially if you're going to be spending money on not a simple airsoft gun if you're getting something a little cooler. Talking about the front end, there's a few different varieties of this gun that you can get. The version I have is the SBR, so the short barrel version. You can also get one that is much longer. However, I mostly play CQB or on fields that have indoor portions to them, such as Bigfoot here in British Columbia, or at my field, as you can see behind me. And I like the shorter barrel. I think long guns are cool in their own way, but in general, shorter is better, especially when you're talking about physics and things like that with airsoft guns, which don't actually apply, that would apply on a real gun. We're talking about bullet velocity and stuff like that. So, short version is good. The long one, I see these for sale on Evike. Evike is the only place that sells them currently. Like, they're the master distributor. And the short barrel one goes on sale fairly frequently, and the long barrel is not. So you can usually get this one for $300 when it goes on sale, and then the long one will be closer to $400. So it really depends on what you want to spend. If you like the look of the long one, definitely go ahead and get that one because you will like it better. As I said before, this gun is made by Cyma, and Cyma is well known for making fairly high quality AK pattern rifles. Their previous AR pattern ones haven't been the best. They've made some MP5s that have been pretty good, but this is their Cyma Platinum line. So internally it comes with a better gearbox, with a bunch of better components, as well as a MOSFET and electronic fire control system to make it feel just a little bit nicer. And out of the box, it's honestly one of the best shooting guns I have seen. Not talking about accuracy and stuff, we'll get to that next, but just from like pure feel, when you pull the trigger, the way that the gearbox rotates and everything, the snap that it makes, it sounds really good, and I can absolutely say without a doubt that it's nice. That is not to say there are not some problems, however. We will get to those shortly. Inside the stock, it clips into place, you can see right here. It has a locking mechanism, pull it down to reveal the batteries, and it comes with a Dean's connector right off the bat, which I think is extremely good. It's good to see more companies doing that, and Cyma Platinum gets points for not releasing a gun with Tamiya connectors. You all know that Tamiya connectors are bad. The one thing to note, I've heard from other people, if you know Jet Desert Fox, he does a lot of Airsoft YouTube content, you can go check out his review on it. He wasn't terribly impressed with this gun, because both of his the motor plate was unscrewing, and it was releasing the motor, and it was like not giving him a good connection, and that's not nice. So if you get one of these, check your motor pin, make sure it's set correctly, and make sure that it is Loctited in place when you are happy with its seating. The next thing that is not the best is going to be the hop-up assembly. So this thing is different from an AK and different from an AR-15. So it's proprietary to the SR-47 series and the Mark 47s, which Cyma makes both of. It's also similar to the Crytek SR-47, which we'll get to shortly. But the stock hop, from what I found, is that over time, it wasn't the best at keeping its selection. So if you'd have to turn it pretty high up to hop even to 5s, like close to max. And when it was there, you'd get a couple of mags out, but then it would start to drop as the vibrations of the gun turn off. And unfortunately, what that means is you have to go and you have to turn it back on. So one of the first things I did is I replaced the whole hop assembly, barrel and bucking and everything. I replaced it with a Crytek one. I purchased that off Evike as well, and I've found that thing has not rotated out of place. It's stayed solid and everything's been good. But I'm not the most impressed with the fact that I had to do that. Because it did require more. It wasn't just a drop-in system. I had to file down the gearbox and to get it to fit. And it's like, you know, it's a permanent modification to the gun to make this work. However, now that that's done, the gun is shooting beautifully, and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. It's been excellent. But do note that you may have problems with your motor, and you may have problems with your hop should you decide to buy this gun. That's not to say, however, that Cyma makes bad guns. As we said before, they make lots of really high quality guns, and I just think that with this, your chance of getting a lemon is going to be a little bit higher than, say, if you got an AK-47 or their MP5 line, because many people have purchased those and they've been happy with them forever. They're built like tanks and they work really, really well. Going to the front end, one of the things that I noticed with this is that the front handguard was misaligned very slightly. So check for that as well. Take your screws out here, rotate it slightly, put it back into place. You won't really have a problem. Just a minor thing again, but it's something to look out for. Now, talking about some personal touches. As you can see on the front end, I've kind of gone for an Escape from Tarkov look on this thing. I've put the Stark Industries, Stark Equipment, something like that, I'm not 100% certain, but it's the Stark SE5 grip. I think this thing is super comfy. I bought it because, I play Escape from Tarkov, and I was like, oh, it's cool, I'm, making a Mark 47, it's a good gun in that game. But as soon as I put it on and I held it, I was like, oh, I see why people like this thing. Like, it's awesome. It feels really good. You can hold it like this. You can do more of a grip like this. But the 45-degree angle is something that a lot of people like vertical grips and more of a hand stop thing. But the grip you can do with this is really nice, and I absolutely recommend it for someone who's looking for maybe a bit of a different grip, and you want something that's comfy. It's very nice, and I don't think you'll regret it. Moving to the front, we have a generic flashlight with a pressure pad. I think this is just a Feyachi. Feyachi make pretty basic equipment. You can find them on Amazon all over the place, cheap. I think everything they sell is like $50 to $60 Canadian, which is great. I think they work really well for how much they cost, and you don't really care too much if they break. There's one thing to use like a Surefire or something really high-end. I do use those high-end equipment like that sometimes. I do understand that it's good and it has a place, but for just an average build like this, I'm more than happy to go with something a little cheaper like this Feyachi. It works good enough, you can see people, and it's all there really is to it. And at the very tip, we have this Ares kind of blast mitigation device. It looks very similar to the Lantac BMD, which again, it's popular in Tarkov, and looks really cool. Fits the roll well, fits the feel of the gun. Fortunately, with this particular flash hider, it was 14mm positive. Many Ares guns have 14mm positive. I didn't know that when I bought it, so I had to get an adapter. So just something to look out for whenever you are purchasing front ends. Moving on to magazines. I have a few different magazines here. The first one, which you've seen already, this is the one that the gun came with. This is a Cyma SR47 PMag looking thing. So no problem. It fits, clips in, nice, feels good. Before I picked this thing up, however, I had a whole bunch of these from some of my other AKs. This is a PMag clone. This one is made by, I think the company is called Silent Mag or just Mag. And it was, it didn't fit the best at first. So you can see it clips in now. However, what I had to do is I had to shim the inside of the magwell here. There's just a little bit of Velcro just to hold it in place. I found it was pretty loose and it was coming out and it wasn't clipping in the best. But once it did that, it goes in pretty well. And finally, we have this. This is an LCT MK47 generic magazine, and I have not had the best of luck getting them to fit. It fits in now, as you can see. You heard it click there. However, it does take a little bit more force, and I'm not 100% certain I recommend them. I recommend, if you are going to be looking for magazines for this thing, and see how hard it was to pull out there, it didn't like pop out well. I would recommend you stick with the Cyma magazines that the gun is designed with. They work the best, but you won't have you won't have problems with the other PMag styles. But your standard AK looking metal mags, they're not the best, and anything by LCT also is not the best. Leave those with your LCT guns. All right, last but not least, would I recommend the Cyma Platinum Mark 47 to you? In general, I think if you like the way the gun looks, I apologize, yeah, a lot of my reviews are like this, and this is really what it boils down to for so many different things when it comes to airsoft guns. But if you like the way the gun looks, you are going to buy it and you're going to make it work. However, if you aren't really capable of teching or like doing even just simple tasks like that, or if you're not really 100% certain that you want to deal with what is potentially not the best QC, then I think you should probably avoid this. Go watch Jezzer Fox's video on it. He had a lot of problems with his, when, well, I only had problems with the hum on mine. Who knows what else any other people could have. Like, one thing I didn't mention earlier was that this castle nut here was loose. Like, I can just do it by hand. So if you don't have an armorer's wrench to tighten that, or Loctite or anything like that, it's going to be a pain. So yeah, if you're not happy with fixing the problems yourself, don't buy this gun. it's cool, it'll work good, but there's a chance that you're gonna run into all sorts of problems. And if that's the case, you're gonna be like, man, I spent $300 on something that I'm not happy with, and more up here in Canada. You know, it's like, it's not easy to find these things up here. And so if you go through the hassle of getting one, you might not be 100% happy with it. However, do not be discouraged. I was not discouraged when I bought it. I knew what I was getting into. I modified the things that I needed to modify. I made everything work, and I'm left with a gun that I'm happy with. That's basically it for the Cyma Mark 47. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Would you buy this gun? Do you have one? Do you like it? Do you not like it? And yeah, I hope you have an excellent day, and I will see you in the next one.